So we're in the second day of Prime Day since it's actually a 2-day event. And while most of the deals this time around have been pretty average, just like most years, Prime Day really is just a way of Amazon to get rid of a bunch of overstock. There are at least some deals to be had in terms of things that you can use to upgrade your main PC or even your mini PC. In mind right now, I have just mini PCs. So I looked through what some of the best deals are, and here's some of the ones that I've found. If you're looking to upgrade your mini PC's memory, right now this crucial kit is pretty much the best that you can get for 32 gigabytes. The good thing is that it is DDR5 5600 megahertz, which is about the fastest that pretty much all platforms right now support. This is of course JEDEC speed, which means that the timings are going to be very loose, but this is going to be pretty much supported standard across all systems. And if you're on an older generation system that will only support these speeds, it will just default to those anyway. So this is an overall great deal. I bought this exact kit back in December and I actually ended up paying around $100. So this is an overall pretty nice discount. Of course, another thing that is on a pretty major sale is the 96 gigabyte version of this. This is a pretty interesting deal. I bought my 96 gigabyte kit, is the exact same spec as this, of course from a different brand, but I ended up spending almost $300 with tax. So at this price point, this is a pretty major discount versus what I ended up paying. And this right here is what can turn practically any mini PC into a workhorse computer. These 8-core 16-thread CPUs from AMD or the 12th gen i9 systems with this kit would be an incredible combo that would let you actually have a very small compact workstation computer. Personally, I've been loving my 96 gigabyte kit and it really was able to turn one of these systems into something that could replace my main desktop. I'm actually working on a video where I have been using one of those mini PCs as my day-to-day computer for a couple of weeks now, and the experience has been incredible specifically because of the 96 gigabytes. And at this price point, I would really just be considering picking up one of these. Of course, if we shave off about $100, you can get a 64 gigabyte kit, and this is the cheapest one that I've found right now on Amazon. And look, 64 gigabytes is going to be enough for pretty much most tasks. This is really overkill, but the price difference is not that different enough that I would really just discount the 96 gigabytes. 96 gigabytes is actually pretty useful in certain applications depending on what you're working on. But if you're looking to maximize your dollars, 64 gigabytes is going to be perfectly fine for most situations. I mean, I use 64 gigabytes on my main computer for years and my workload's perfectly supported. In fact, this mini PC that I've been using with 96 gigabytes is the first time that I've used any system with more than 64 gigabytes of RAM. And while I have run into some scenarios where I've been able to get it to go past 64 gigabytes of RAM, it really took a lot. So if you're actually looking to get a really great deal and turn pretty much any system into a powerhouse, 64 gigabytes is great. And at this price point, it really is a nice deal. But I love the 96 gigabytes. If you're like me and you just want to have this, you can. It's not a bad price. At the price point that I paid for it, it definitely hurt, and I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for the YouTube channel. Realistically, if I wasn't doing a lot of this YouTube stuff and I was still doing video editing, 64 gigabytes would be what I would go for. Now, unfortunately, there wasn't really that many great deals for storage. One of the best deals, though, is this crucial P3 4 terabyte. Now, this is just a PCIe Gen 3 SSD, so I know a lot of people out there will think that, well, my computer is Gen 4. Listen, you are more than likely not doing anything with your SSD that is going to require Gen 4. There is no real noticeable difference in the load times in games, and you more than likely don't even have a internet speed fast enough to saturate Gen 3 speeds, let alone Gen 4. And considering that the generational improvements in the low-level I/O are very minuscule, this really isn't that bad of a deal, especially if you have older generation mini PCs that are they're still stuck on Gen 3. Or if you have a second SSD slot on a system that has already a Gen 4 SSD, well, you don't need a Gen 4 on that second slot. This would be perfectly fine, especially if you're just loading up games and things like that. At this price point, this is about as good as it gets for terabyte SSDs. Unfortunately, around this time last year, prices were actually cheaper than this. As always, SSD prices seem to fluctuate depending on the time of year and what the manufacturers just decide to do. So right now, this is about as good of a deal as you're going to get, and I'm not sure if we can expect much lower towards the end of the year. So if you are looking to expand your storage, this is what I would be considering getting right now. Of course, if you are someone that really needs high performance SSDs, I understand some of those workloads exist. I mean, I work with 4K footage, and let me tell you, having a faster SSD can actually make a difference. And for those people, I would just get these WD Black 4TB SN50X NVMe's. I actually have one of these, and it is absolute monster of an SSD. It really has never given me any issues whatsoever. It's extremely fast. And while I did manage to pay less than this about a year and a half ago, this is as good as this gets, and I'm really considering picking up another one of these. When it comes to recording footage and video editing and things like that, you really never have enough SSD storage, so it would be nice to have one of these. And in that kind of scenario, the extra speed that this actually has can be useful. Of course, I would kill to have high capacity Optane drives, but unfortunately Intel had to kill that one off. So this is pretty much one of the best deals you can get for an actual high performance SSD. And in all honesty, you either need this or you just get this. There's kind of no real reason to go anywhere in between, because you either have a workload that already just the fact that this is an NVMe in general would give you most of the benefit, or you need something extremely high performance and you might as well just get the best of the best in that scenario. You either maximize your dollar or you maximize performance. And right now, these are pretty much the two best options. Of course, for the people out there with systems with SATA SSD ports, well, unfortunately, this market is really just becoming worse and worse every year. Personally, the SSDs that I would go with are these right here. I have had the most experience with these, but I have had lower capacity ones. I have a 2TB of this one and it has worked perfectly fine. And I have tried the 4TB of this, and again, perfectly fine. Both of them being QLC SSDs do run into some major problems when you're writing a bunch of games into this and you start to really fill up the capacity. The drive speeds really can come down dramatically once these start to get filled up. Unfortunately, there is no real answer to this in the SSD market anymore, because a lot of the times these drives are all just going to end up being QLC most of the time. It seems like SATA SSDs in general have just been relegated to just QLC NAND, which is kind of a problem, and there's no real answer for it at this point. Samsung, Micron, and AData pretty much have abandoned this segment. They either have no alternatives or are only supplying QLC drives anyway. So I would just get one of these. You can take the gamble with these, and in all honesty, I've taken that gamble before, and so far I haven't lost yet. I have two of these SSDs, but in all honesty, I also don't use them all that much. I'm not sure how they would hold up to day-to-day use, but having over 2,000, almost 3,000 reviews and only 4 stars versus this SSD here with more reviews and more 5 stars by a significant margin, I would honestly just pay the extra $15 and get a little bit more peace of mind. They're both going to be QLC. All of these are QLC. So with that being the case, just go with these. Now for some random deals that are out there, there is this 8BitDo Ultimate C wireless controller. I have actually used this controller before and I'm kind of a fan. Personally, I would get it in the field green, but the lilac purple also looks pretty nice, and at this price point, it's a pretty great deal. deal. These feel really rock solid. So if you're looking for an Xbox alternative controller that is cheap, this is great. This pairs really, really well with a lot of these mini PCs. It's actually what I use the controller for, since a lot of the times this works better than the Xbox controller because of the fact that the Xbox controller relies on Bluetooth, and sometimes these mini PCs don't really have the best Bluetooth signal. So the fact that this actually has own wireless adapter pretty much makes it a rock solid deal. And I'm more than likely going to actually end up picking up another one of these because at this price point, they're really great. And one thing that I do not see a lot of people mention when it comes to mini PCs is the audio solution. I hope to God that most of you guys are not using headsets because headsets sound absolutely awful. Get yourself an audio interface. You need an audio interface. It is going to be the best solution for you if you actually want to have decent audio that isn't going to ruin your friend's ears on Discord. You might be tempted to pick up this audio mixer here, and trust me, I mean, I've bought one of these before. I've used it. It's okay. It's very plasticky. I'm not the biggest fan of it, honestly. At this price point, it's not even that discounted from where it normally is anyway. I would, in all honesty, just consider picking up PreSonus Audio Box Go here, since it's not that much more expensive, and this is at least more realistically functional. A lot of the stuff on here is extremely gimmicky and you will never use it. But I would just get either the M Audio M Track Duo, since it has the dual microphone inputs, or I would get the M Audio Air. None of these are premium solutions by any means, but my experience with the Air here has actually been pretty rock solid, and I personally like significantly more than the Fin over here. That being said, Fin does have some other nice products, though I would avoid getting this if you can get either of these M Audios. This dynamic microphone from Fin is actually fantastic microphone. I have used this microphone interchangeably between it and my Electro Voice RE20, and I honestly struggle to tell a difference a lot of the time. And at this price point, it's a little bit cheaper than what I ended up paying for, but it's really not that much of a discount at all. I paid $55 for it, so you're getting a whole $4 off. At $55, I thought this was an incredible deal. So at $51, it's still an incredible deal. It's a very nice microphone. It works over USB, it works over XLR. I use it over XLR hooked up to my Go XLR, which, by the way, I do not recommend the Go XLR. It was working perfectly fine when I was on Windows 10, but I upgraded to Windows 11 and now it has been giving me audio issues. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but sometimes when I'm talking, there will be a crackling popping sound. That is the Go XLR. So in a lot of ways, this microphone is actually a better buy than a Go XLR. I had just kept using my M Audio Air over here. Paired with this microphone, I would be having a better experience. Unfortunately, I sold the M Audio, so I might just have to buy another one to replace this Go XLR. So, sometimes spending more money does not mean that you're getting a better experience, and this microphone is a testament to that. I will say that I recommend that you hook this up to an XLR anything over USB. I genuinely found it to be too quiet to realistically use a lot of the time, but that might just be a me thing. But it's definitely something that I would recommend thinking about. Audio interfaces are not that expensive, and you can get some very nice ones for less than $100, and they'll last you a very long time. Like this Behringer here, I bought this in February 2018. This is still working. I have a friend that has it, and he has been using it every single day since I gave it to him, and I used this every single day when I bought it. So this thing has seen pretty much daily use, and it's still going strong. Get yourself an audio interface. It'll last you a very, very long time, but try to get yourself one that's nicer. This one's okay, but really you just spend a little bit more and you get something like this, and it lasts you just as long or even longer, and it'll overall be better. But anyways, I hope you guys found some of these things useful. I'm going to link all of this down below so you could check it out. These were some of the best deals that I found for Prime Day. In all honesty, it wasn't a great year, just like the last few years have been for Prime Day. It's always just a overstock day for Amazon just to move a bunch of things that they didn't really sell. So if you're looking to pick up some junk in general, just check out the Amazon affiliate links down below, since at least you'll support the channel that way. And of course, if the actual good deals like this interest you, they are all going to be linked down below. Let me know what you decided to pick up. I'll catch you guys in the next one.